Continuing our Thought Leader series here on LMFM, we're joined now by a man who's had an extraordinary career as a leader in business. Padraic White, you're very welcome indeed.
Yeah, good morning.
We'll come later hopefully to your leadership of the IDA and your success in bringing companies such as Microsoft and IBM and Intel into Ireland. But at the moment I think the project closest to your heart is the Louth Economic Forum, and I know it's something that's been looked at now by other counties as a sort of a best practice in county planning and development.
Yeah.
And how did this come about?
It came about largely through the former, recently departed county manager, Con Murray, who I think when he came to Louth and in discussion with the elected representatives, realised that a local authority could actually take a leadership position if it approached the private sector and the state agencies and attempted to bring all of them together in the interest of the county. So Con asked me early in 2009 if I would become an independent chairperson, because one of his clear ideas was that the importance of trying to get somebody from outside the county, you know, who would have an interest in the county but wouldn't be biased, you know, in favour of Drogheda or Dundalk or or whatever. So would be able to take an even-handed look. So I've spent all my life in development, so if somebody gives me a development challenge, I can't resist it. So in April 2009, I became the independent chairperson, and it's been a fantastic adventure, I really have to say, because it's brought together the business sector through the Dundalk Chamber of Commerce and the Drogheda Chamber of Commerce and the RD community. It's brought together the state agencies like IDA and Enterprise Ireland, has Sustainable Energy and Teagasc and Fáilte Ireland and the DKIT, and then it's brought together the top leadership of Louth County Council, led by the county manager with Michael Curran and Michael McCabe and Adele O'Mahony. So actually round the table you have a group of people in the county that's reflected nowhere else in Ireland, and their sole objective under and me as the independent chairperson is how can we combine in the interests of driving development and jobs and incomes.
We were actually talking to Con Murray earlier this week, and we were mentioning that sort of the pivotal position of Louth in the North East Economic Corridor, and that I think has been central to all of this, particularly with your experience on the other side of the border as well, or what was the border.
Yeah. You see, in my experience, people don't realise the assets they have, and Louth has a fantastic asset that's becoming more and more important in that it is centrally located on what we call the Eastern Corridor, where most of the population and growing population of Ireland are between Belfast and Dublin. And on that Eastern Corridor, which is, I suppose, made more real by the M1, it has huge advantages. But advantages are no use unless you actually capitalise on them, unless you set out deliberately to capitalise on them. And in a way, people are beginning to realise that what Sir George Quigley many years ago developed the concept of that corridor is now happening, and probably the best example of that is the decision of PayPal to establish it in Dundalk, because from PayPal's viewpoint, they were in Blanchardstown. They've got 1,500 people in Blanchardstown. They want to expand, and they want to expand into an area with another catchment area where they can get skilled people. And so from their point of view, I mean, it's essentially less than an hour up a motorway from Blanchardstown to Dundalk, and access to the whole region. So in a way, I see the PayPal decision as one of the clearest dividends for being on that Eastern Corridor.
How much credit for something like PayPal would the Louth East Economic Forum take?
There's an old saying that I remember late John F. Kennedy said after the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion, when he said, defeat is an orphan, success is many fathers. Right?
Yes, indeed.
So
yes, indeed.
We all have to be very modest in anything we claim. I mean, it comes about through a huge combination of factors. But I don't think let's put it at its lowest. I don't think it did any harm that all the different aspects of development in Louth work together. The IDA, the local authority, the business sector, the DKIT. I think there's a kind of there's a subliminal message that people get when they see everybody working together and collaborating, and that is actually a reality in Louth that is not the case in probably most other counties in Ireland.
I suppose what I'm getting at, there's clearly a great will to put this together.
Yeah.
But something like the Louth Economic Forum, I suppose what I'm asking is, does it have any real teeth? Or is it a visionary objective only?
No, it's much more than a visionary objective because, for example, in the case of making Louth the best county in which to do business, Louth, again, in pursuit of that objective. I mean, that's not, everybody can say, we want our county to be the best county in which to do business. But the whole philosophy of the forum is, how do you follow that through? So, and to give you a specific example, Louth, in pursuit of that objective, was the very first county to cut development levies on industry and investment. If you want to build a new industry or a project, whatever, you pay a development levy. It could be €12 per square metre. Louth, under the county council and Clonmurray, cut those levies so that if you created sufficient employment, you pay no levy, right? And that has been, and that's
tangible.
That's
real.
tangible,
Mm-hmm.
and it's again, it was the first county in Ireland to do it, and I have said that is leadership, and that is actually a local authority in county taking an initiative in the interests of the economic development of this county. Now, and all the other counties could have done it, but they didn't do it, and Louth led because in following the objective we had set in the forum of what does it really mean to make our county the best in which to do business.
Now, you've come up with a sort of a 10-pillar approach to this, and there's a number of different objectives within that. But one of the most recent ones was the launch of this initiative between education and industry. Tell me a little bit about that. Yeah,
well, one of the huge assets for Louth, and not just Louth but the region, is the Dundalk Institute of Technology. And Dennis Cummins, the president, is on the forum, and that's another way of interaction between the different sectors. And Dennis and the representatives of the forum have brought out a new action plan in relation to Dundalk Institute of Technology, and part of that is having much closer relationship with business and setting up a formal link between the college and the business. And for example, the Institute of Technology has already demonstrated that it's very good at doing this. It has developed programs and a BSc, for example, in response to Warner Chilcott, which is a very advanced pharmaceutical company in Dundalk. It is engaged actively with PayPal and with Prometric, which is a new industry. But the whole idea is that it's responsive to both from the point of view of the career opportunities of the young people, to anticipate the needs in industry.
I was going to say that for young people going through DKIT right at the minute, and they're saying now there's all of these great connections being formed with these businesses. What does that mean to the student in terms of, that's the direction I'm going to go in, that's where I'm going to find a job?
Well, it means that we know with a high degree of certainty where there are going to be job opportunities in the future. We know, for example, we have to double the number of young people in honours degrees with information technology qualifications. I mean, that's a fact. It has to be doubled. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of high calibre jobs in Ireland available as we speak this morning that cannot be filled. There are thousands of jobs with language qualifications that can't be filled at the present time. So if we can engage with industry and convert those requirements into what the young people will want, and their parents have a huge influence on the attitudes of the young people. And we see when the applications to the CAO every so often, different trends where perhaps there's an overreaction to, there's a downturn of the electronics industry maybe 5-7 years ago, and then suddenly people forget about it, right? But so the future, so through this we can work with industry and indicate and help to indicate to the young people and develop the programs that where the jobs are in today and 3 and 4 and 5 years time. And
so you're getting the college courses preparing to meet the needs of the jobs,
exactly.
And you're getting the jobs preparing to open the doors and take in the students.
Exactly. Because as I said, we have a huge paradox today of thousands of jobs that are available,
sitting there,
and that people are not qualified.